All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Warrior Mindset and Motivation Podcast, also known as WM2. I'm your host, Eric Castillo, and here I got a guy. He's a pretty cool dude. I watch his videos on the Facebook, and his name's Juston, right? Is that how you say it?
It's still pronounced Justin. My dad was
Justin.
and couldn't draw a straight line, so it's spelled wrong.
Oh, I tussled with that. I was like, Juston.
Yeah, a lot of my friends call me Juston. And I've kind of embraced that. And anytime I do like an audition out here, I'll just say Juston, and then they're like, "Oh, like Gaston," and I'm like, "Yeah, only I'm the good guy. I let girls read, if they want."
Well, that's cool. Well, he's got quite an extensive background of history in the military and stuff that he's done and seen and being able to get through some things. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about those things today, because this podcast is all about showing other veterans that no matter how dark or how deep they feel in that black abyss, that there is a way to get out. And you only can get out, but there's others like me and Juston here and Drew and Jessica, who I spoke to last week, that you can get out of it. It's just, you got to put forth the effort, but there is help. And people will help you, but you have to put forth the work to get out. So, Juston, if you want to go ahead and give everybody a little bit of a background about you real quick, about yourself, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, cool. So I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I joined the Army at the young age of 17. I got my parents' consent. This was after 9/11, so this is post 9/11. I was a junior in high school when 9/11 kicked off, and I'd already thought about the military and the Army. I had a buddy who he was going to join, and he kind of like showed me like what the Army had to offer. He did more work than the recruiter did maybe. And like after 9/11, when 9/11 hit, that was like kind of the deciding factor of me joining. So I got my parents' consent because they were against it. My dad was in the Navy for a little bit. I think he went AWOL or something. He doesn't really talk about it. So he swam from the ship all the way back to Buffalo.
Wow.
What probably happened. No, I'm just kidding.
He
was like, I don't want to be here anymore. God is right. No. But he was kind of against it because when he joined the Navy, what part of his reasons for joining was to get away from Buffalo and like the people and friends that he grew up with, because they were like very heavy into drugs and making a lot of bad decisions and bad life choices. So he thought joining the military would be good for him. But when he got to the Navy, there was even more of that. So I think he went AWOL and got chaptered out or whatever. And then my grandfather served in World War II. And my other grandfather was in Vietnam. So like, I didn't really grow up knowing them. So they didn't have any like influence on my decision to join. It was really like my buddy Matt and 9/11. And then I had to convince my parents because, like I was saying, they were kind of against it because they're like, you're going to go to war, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah. So listen, guys, you could sign this piece of paper now, or you can wait till I'm 18 on the 26th of July, and I'm just going to sign myself away. So they're like, well, if this is what you want to do, we'll support you. So they signed the paperwork, and off I was. I did 8 years total in the military, 4 deployments overseas, 3 to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan. I served with the 101st. I was with the Rakkasans, 187th at the 101st, and then moved to the 10th Mountain Division, where I was on the PSD team for the battalion, and then I was on the PSD team for the division. So I was taking Generals Bannister, Dahl, and Terry to and from their locations in Afghanistan to do all of their political meetings and all that stuff. And those deployments were a little not as hectic as the other ones, definitely. So my initial contract was for 4 years. I did 4 years jail, and then like military confinement, and then I had to fight to stay in the military. I re-enlisted for 2 years in needs of the Army. That's when I went to Fort Drum, and I was really thinking about re-enlisting. I had to extend my contract for a year to get promoted to staff sergeant, and then I extended my contract again for the deployment, for that last deployment where I was on the General's PSD team, because at that point they'd gotten rid of stop loss, Obama administration passed that if you're no more stop loss, but if your unit's deploying, you get an extra like $500 a month on top of your hazard duty pay and all that stuff. And I was like, I'll do that, and maybe I'll re-enlist again. But then some other stuff happened, and I was just like, you know what? I made the decision. I'm just gonna get out and do something different, pursue a different avenue, and that led me to acting. So
nice. And the same. Actually, yours is kind of like mine. I joined at 17 also, but it was prior to 9/11.
okay.
It was in 2000, and I joined at 17. My parents was like, my mom was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I graduated in June and I turned 18 in August. So you either do it now in December." And my recruiter was cool. He got me a U.S. Army Reserve ID card.
Oh, nice.
So like, yes, and I was a PV1, even though I was going in as an E3, but I got that said E1, and I remember it was awesome because I thought I was so cool, and I actually went to a strip joint at 17 years old, and they let me in, and I didn't have to pay for anything. The guy goes, "Oh, we got a military guy in the house," and I was like, "Oh shit!" So it was a free lap dances, free drinks. I got home. I thought my mother was gonna kill me because I got home at like 3 a.m, you know, with my ID card, just all like, "Look at me, I'm active duty," you know, like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was kind of neat. And then 9/11 happened, and for us, we had actually just started a 2-week battalion FTX, a field training exercise. Just started. We were like on day 3. And since I'm artillery, our platoon sergeants are called smokes. And our smoke walks up to us and he goes, "Hey guys, we have to go back into the garrison because there's been an attack at the Twin Towers and they're calling everybody in." So we're like, "Oh, okay, cool. Scenario, sweet. All right, so where are we going to? Are we going down this way? Or are we going, where are we doing?" He's like, No, I'm serious. Everybody's packing up from the field." And I was at Fort Bragg. And he's like, "Everybody's packing up." And we're like, we're like, "Wait, are you serious?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm fucking serious." And we're like, "Oh, okay." So it took us 4.5 hours to get back onto the installation because they pulled everyone out the field.
Oh,
and
wow.
then that was in 2001. Then 2 years later, boom, to Afghanistan with 7th Group Special Forces to go do stuff over there. And like you, mine was reversed from you. I have 3 to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq. So we're flip flops. So I'm sure we crossed paths somewhere in those times. So and I seen that you were I know you had wrote me, you had went through some things. Now how I know for me, when I had my first I guess I'll call it a life or death experience, where it literally was like on the verge of being massacred, I know that changed something in me. Like it changes your brain. It changes everything about you because you don't see life the same no more. And I was wondering, with some of the things that you've gone through, what did that do to you when that happened?
I mean, like, I still deal with some of the stuff, and I go to like counseling out here at Culver City Vet Center. Before I had the counselor I have now, I had a Vietnam vet counselor who was a combat veteran as well, who had seen some stuff. So it was very awesome to find him and speak with him, because like it didn't feel like counseling. Now I'm like, the counselor I have, it kind of feels more textbooky, and it's not that satisfying, but I still do it because I know it's important to get it out, and that's my outlet. That's like obviously comedy too is a huge outlet for me. But yeah, like I remember one of the first things that happened overseas when during my second deployment was like my second deployment was the worst, because my first deployment, I was only there for a few months. I caught the tail end of it. I just got out of basic training and reported to the 101st, got assigned to the Rakkasans. They're like, "You're going over." And we were like, "Okay, well, obviously." But we got there and they're like, "I don't know why they sent you over here. We're going home in like 4 months or whatever." And so I missed Fallujah. I wasn't in Fallujah. But maybe that's a good thing too. Maybe, if I just made that, I wouldn't be here. But yeah, second deployment, we were in Samara, Iraq, FOB Brassfield Mora, and we had a secure MSR Tampa. So we were on like a 3-day schedule of 3 days pulling security out at the cops, 3 days patrolling up and down the main supply route, and then 3 days of missions. And if a mission got canceled, that was your day off. So it was like very hectic schedule, very, very little downtime for us. So one of the first things that happened, we had to respond to an IED blast that went off and hit another unit. And we reacted to that from the combat outpost that we were at. And the IED caused the turret to like take off the gunner's like half of his head. So our medic was keeping him alive. His brain was exposed, and I'm pulling security in the middle of the street with no cover and concealment. And just like looking back at that kid who he ended up dying. Didn't know him, but he was wearing the same uniform as me. That kind of really opened up my eyes, even though like we'd received fire before and mortars before, but like that up close and personal to a United States soldier who lost his life, who was, whether or not I knew him or not, still a brother to me, very, very difficult to deal with, very, very difficult to like process. And like, obviously I have like nightmares about that sometimes. Even with one of the other things that happened, we reacted to another ID explosion that it was meant for our guys, but in 2005, 2006, that's when we started working with the Iraqi army more. The Iraqi army they were on patrol too, but they were behind us. But they, for some reason, was like, oh, let's pass these guys. So they passed us. We let them pass us up, and they're not in up armor Humvees. They're in pickup trucks, and this pickup truck received the IED blast. Everyone but one person made it out. One of their guys had like one of his legs blown off, so we had to tourniquet his leg. But one dude was burning alive inside, unconscious. So like he wasn't screaming or anything, but I remember the smell, burning flesh, burning hair, and his friend who didn't speak English, but I could tell he ran up to me and approached me. It's just like you're caught in a situation that's so like helpless. There's nothing you can do. But for some reason, I remember like the thing that haunts me a lot about it is like there's nothing I could do to help your burning friend. We didn't have the fire extinguishers in the back of our trucks. I think we just used it for another one, and we weren't getting supply. We weren't getting enough refill of supply of that. And it's just like the way he looked at me as if I was some kind of superhero and could help his friend, because for whatever like I don't know, maybe cartoons that this guy watched growing up or whatever like was instilled in his head from his media, like the United States is here to like help you guys out. I don't know, that was like definitely one of the things that like that sticks with me a lot, there's a bunch of like I can go on and on with these stories, man. Like it was rough over there. And yeah, it's like, there are unfortunate events that happened where it turned out to be innocent people who were getting shot up, innocent civilians, but they were making just really dumb decisions because we'd been there for a few years already, and now they're like, I don't know, they're pushing or testing where our trigger line is going to be and stuff like that, and then end up getting shot up because they weren't paying attention to the laser signals or paying attention to like the warning shots or whatever. Like there's a lot of
they're pushing the boundaries. It seems like they're kind of just seeing what they can get away with. And I mean, it's a position for us. It's like, for all we know, is that could just simply be like a decoy, or it could just be someone saying, "Yep, I'm going to Allah today, so I'm about to push the line to see how far they go because someone else is watching them." Some insurgents watching what our limits are, what our lines are, what's our escalation of force, so that way then they can penetrate it. So yeah. And it's kind of hard because you kind of have to tell yourself that, but at the same time, you don't really know. And it's hard.
there's one instance, even after all, or like during that second deployment, where we had set up a cordon and we were like doing a small like search of people in the area, testing their hands for like bomb making materials or whatever. And we were in this like small little bodega or whatever you want to call it. And it could have been a VBID that was approaching and coming in. And I got reprimanded for not shooting the guy because he had crossed the trigger line, but I could see his face through the windshield, and he wasn't like, he was just like not paying attention, and that's why he fucking crossed it. And he was like fucking he was just going to get his groceries for the day. That's what his thing was, and he was just like do. Like obviously, if his face had a different gesture on it or whatever, and I could see like he was like fucking hateful and malicious and targeting us, I would have opened fire, you know. But I was able to positively identify this guy first, which is something that they were harping on too. That's 2005, 2006 is when they were really starting to implement like positive identification, and the war was getting more political than it was a war. But there was still like, you know, a huge threat over there with terrorists and them shooting at us and testing us for whatever reason. You know?
Right. I remember that whole
still making bombs and blowing people the fuck up. You know, like it's like, I don't know, the whole positive identification thing and the like win their hearts and minds like made sense, but at the same time, it didn't make sense to the boots on ground, the people who were the infantry guys who were on the ground. Like made sense to all these book readers, you know, higher ups and all these freaking officers, but for the guys on ground and seeing all this hell firsthand, it's like, you know, in hindsight, yeah, like you think about it and be like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, you know, you guys aren't the ones waking up with night sweats.
I remember, and this one still kind of gets me. I was in Afghanistan, and I was this is where the positive ID thing was just insane, because I was watching a guy who's probably like 400 meters out roughly, and I was a damn good shot. So it's like I don't miss, you know, like when I go to the range, I'm the trainer at the M4 range. I'm the guy who trains people. I'm the guy who gets the guys who can't shoot to get them to qualify. And I'm watching this guy through the ACOG, and he is like no shit digging in the ground. And you know, at that time, during that point in 2010, 11, before you even shot, you had to ask to shoot, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I see this guy. He's digging. Can I engage? You know? And there's like a pause. And they were like, negative. And I'm like, what do you mean negative? I'm like, and then this is like, I lost all like bearing on the radio. I was like, I fucking see him digging in the ground. Like, I see him put stuff in the floor.
Yeah.
No, negative. And then what happens after I don't do nothing? 3 minutes later, boom, explosion. I lost my shit, dude. I lost it. Because I was like, I freaking told you guys I could have hit him. I mean, and you know I could have hit him, but yet you told me no. And that's when I feel you with that whole like political aspect of like, oh, well, you got to make sure. Where for you, it's like you saw the guy had no intent, and he was just, and really when they're getting ready to do that, they're dressed in all white, they're clean shaven, they got nice white turban on, and you made that decision of like, hey, you know, I'm positively identifying this guy, and then you still got in trouble. And then on the flip side, I'm seeing a guy do something, and then it still can't do it. So it's like our hands are tied, and it's like sometimes it's I think about it sometimes where it's like, dang, I should have just did it, but then at the same time, where would I be at if I would have done it? If I would have shot him, yeah, I'd have hit him, but then where would I have been at? In what type of situation or sling would I put myself in if I'd have did that? And it's crappy to even think that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword too, because like on a night convoy, a night patrol one night, like a vehicle was getting too close to our convoy, and I popped off a warning shot, and they stopped then. You know, because I was doing the laser and they weren't responding to that. I pop off a couple warning shots on the 50 cal. They stopped then, but then we stopped the convoy, and then my freaking platoon sergeant comes up and he asks, like, what was all that about? And I'm like, these guys got way too close for comfort. And he looks down the road, and obviously, like, they stopped we kept going, and then we stopped. So it looked like they were further out than what they were. But like, he's like, "Did you have a negligent discharge?" And I'm like, "No." Like, dude, I have to explain to him, like, no, like earlier they were closer. They were too close to the buffer. I'm the rear truck, you know, and thank God they stopped, and they were just like a regular fucking ended up being regular people out there. Because who's to say they weren't? And then they were a V-bid, and they came in and freaking blew up my whole fucking, you know, the whole convoy, or you know, really hurt somebody in our convoy, which isn't what you want, you know. I don't know, man. War's crazy, dude. That's probably why they can't get any of these movies right, you know.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, they gotta glorify it in somehow, and it's like, you know, at the same time, it's like I get mad at some of them, but at the same time, it's like, you know, they're doing their best, but really all they gotta do is just take a moment and go online and reach out to someone like you or me or Drew or Jessica, and they still, if you watched her podcast, they butchered her story. Like, they tried to say she got the convoy lost. Like, she was a PFC. She was a private first class. She wasn't in charge of nothing in that convoy. Yeah. She was just in the chair sitting down. So it's like
the truck commander's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to take route green," and she's like the gunner in the fucking. She's maybe we should go blue. You know what? Maybe we should.
She was even that. She was in the back seat. She was in the back. She was behind the TC, so she really had no say so, and they had no gunner in the truck. So like, if they would have just did their due diligence for just a second, you know, and I think that's when it comes to it, like, and especially with you being like, you know, starting to pedal towards the acting career, and we'll get to that in a second. I think that it's good to capture some accurate, you know, stuff. And I know you can't be like super accurate because there's stuff with Hollywood messing with your hat.
Just been trying to make sure I look good because I'm an actor now, so I have to.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I see you got your headshots and everything. You got to make sure everything's going. And but I know Hollywood can't do everything to the T. That there has to be something wrong. Like with Denzel Washington's movies, his uniform, there always has to be some deficiency because it can't be like spot on.
Oh no, that's untrue. The rule is, if you're not in the military, you cannot represent yourself. So as long as your name tape is somebody else's name, that's all that needs to be wrong with it. All of that. A lot of people hear that, and I don't know who started it. I guess I don't know. Whoever started that was trying to make an excuse for why their movie isn't accurate. You know, like the actor's already playing somebody that's not themselves. So if Tom Cruise is playing a guy named Bill Cruz, they need to change the last name Cruz so people don't. So he's not technically wearing the same name tape as himself. Right. And then again, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. So there. Well, I just don't want to see. I'm just sick of seeing guys play soldiers just because their dads made a name for themselves in Hollywood, like Mel Gibson's son and Clint Eastwood's son, because both of them in that movie, what was it, Outward or freaking, what was the name of that movie that they were in? Fucking
both of them together?
Yeah. Their sons. Not them. There's their sons.
Yeah, the sons. No, I don't think I've seen that one.
The Wire or something like that, or
not Outside the Wire, right? No,
that's a different movie. What movie am I thinking? It's got freaking the dude that played Legolas. He's in it for like a little bit. He's the captain and dies, and then somebody else dies, and it's based on a true story. Where they had a outpost in the middle of a valley.
Oh wait, was it on Netflix?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think I've seen that one now. Now that you say like that outpost in like a valley,
maybe.
So shoot, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't put the name, but I remember I actually watched it with my fiance. We were watching it. I thought that the story was okay, but like some of the characters, I was like, you know. I try to be open to military movies, you know, because I try to at least put myself in the perspective of like, okay, and try not to like ding everything that goes on.
Well, the movie was overall good because the story was based on a true story, and I'm sure that they had the military advisors there, the people who were in that story there, who survived. But I just get a little salty when I see Mel Gibson's son playing a role just because his dad made a name for himself in this industry.
Yeah.
Just because my dad went AWOL, whatever. I can't get my break.
Yeah, you do an AWOL movie.
Yeah, maybe that's what.
Yeah, but I didn't know like what you said about like the name tape being wrong, because I watch Denzel Washington's movies when he does military movies in his uniform. You see it, and I'm looking. I like pause it. I'm in there looking at the ribbons. I'm like, no, all that shit's in order. Devices are correct. Like I'm looking, and I'm like, I'm gonna get something with him, and I'm like, there's got to be something wrong. But I didn't know it was the name tape. I mean, I just dismissed that because I knew like that was just what that was. So I thought maybe they were just doing that like with like how if they were doing based on true events where they use that person's name if they're allowed to or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
no, yeah, like that so if I was playing like one of the Medal of Honor recipients or anything, it's just as long as their name tape is on me of my likeness and face and body, that's fine. I just can't wear a uniform that says Graber on it. So if there's like for whatever reason I'm auditioning and the guy like whatever writer was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this soldier named Graber, like I'd be like, it would have to change that name because that's my last name, so I can't represent the military because I'm not active duty anymore. Well,
there you go, people. For those acting, we just learned something new here because I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know at the same time. So like that's a good piece of information there, especially for people who want to get into the acting business. So we're going to go now from, and this is one of the key things I always hit on, is the transition from active to civilian. I know for me, it was very hard. My unit that I was with tried to give me 2 weeks to medically retire from the Army, which was not good. And I was trying to get into the WTB, and the sergeant major at the time said, I'm not broken, so I don't belong in WTB. Even though I was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic, which is a everlasting condition, technically I am broken, because my pancreas doesn't work. But so that was a struggle. And then what the lady, and she was amazing, the lady at the Soldier for Life Center, she told me to come pick up my clearing papers the day I'm supposed to sign out. That's what she told me to do. Because what happens is I missed my final out date, and then it gets sent straight to the post commander on why I'm not out of the Army. And then they had to explain all that. So, and they didn't want to give me terminal leave either. So there was that. So it was a whole mess. So it's like some have it good, some not so much. So how was yours like?
Well, I got out in 2012, and I wanted to do something different. I figured it was time to get out and not continue to serve or whatever. I had a buddy who I talked into joining the military from Buffalo, and he was still in. He's still in at this point. My buddy Dave, and we both kind of grew up in poor neighborhoods in Buffalo or whatever. So joining the military was a good route for both of us. Obviously, we weren't going to be going to college or anything like that without the military. And obviously there was a huge call of duty with 9/11. But when I got out, he was still in, and he was stationed in Savannah, Georgia. Not Hunter, but the other one, Stewart. And he kept calling me and hounding me, man, because he knew that I was getting out. And he's like, "What's your plan, man? You got to have a plan. You know what they say." And I was like, I don't really know. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. And I did like an audition in Buffalo, and was starting to get into acting and kind of liked it. And he was like, why don't you go to school? And I'm like, I don't want to go to school with a bunch of like kids that are, they don't have any life experience or anything like that. But he was like, you're an idiot. You like use your GI Bill, go to school. Right? And I'm like, man, I don't know. And then he called me like a week later, asked for my social security number and stuff like that. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, what do you need that for? And he's like, trust me, man. I'm like, you're not going to put me back in the military, are you? What are you doing? And he's like, no, man, just give me it. So I gave him all my information that he asked for. And then another week passes, and he's like, hey, dude, pack all your shit. You're moving in with me. Savannah, Georgia. I'm in Pooler. I got you into Savannah College of Art and Design for performing arts. I was like, what? Because like at one point he asked me to do like a self-tape or whatever. And I was like, well, what's this for? He was like, oh, no, something's shooting down here. But he was just like lying to me. He was trying to get me into school. He's like, use your GI Bill. You get paid to go to school. And I'm like, So I ended up packing my stuff, moving in with him. Ended up transferring school to USC so I could be in LA and stuff like that. So, and when the transition of school, like going to school with a bunch of kids that don't really understand. Like I got the, the cliche questions of like when people found out that I was in the military, like, oh, you ever kill anybody? And it's just like, I would shut that down so quick. Just like, never ask anybody that in the military. Okay. Cause like, even if you're lucky and you find, or even if they haven't, like, it's just a disrespectful thing. And coming from somebody who has, like, it's more disrespectful. Okay. I don't want to,
exactly.
Obviously something you're not equipped to discuss. So go fuck yourself. But
I know that happened to me at Portland State University. It was the first semester and it was my first class. And I had my service dog with me, and they asked me, it was a woman, it was a girl, and she goes, I just wanted to know, have you killed anybody? And I was still kind of not in that right mind. I was still kind of like just really going through trauma and stuff. And I just looked at her and I said, yeah, do you want to be next? And she just she went and sat down in the chair. And then as soon as I said it, I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. I was like, whoops. And I just turned around, I just put my hands, like, I'm sorry. And she was just like, she went like that, and she put her hands up like, it's okay, But go ahead. Sorry, I had to chime that in there because it made me think of that. I totally forgot about that until you brought that up.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, like, yeah, the transition was tough. Trying to fit in with the dramatic arts, other dramatic arts students who were like, 8 or how are they, like, like 18 to 20s and stuff like that. And I was like 26 to 28 or something like that when I started school. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. I had trouble fitting in. I had auditioned for a few of their improv troupes or whatever, and ended up not getting into those. That just drove me to start my own, and then I started my own improv troupe. I did make a few friends who I'm still in contact with from USC, who are out here like hustling too. And I guess that's like that's where more of the respect comes from. Is like you meet people, doesn't matter what age they are, but like you respect like their hustle and they're there for the right reasons. They're not there because their parents are paying their way through school and and some people, I don't know, there are a couple that their parents were paying their way and they're kind of okay. But yeah, like I don't know. I think that's the struggle too. Like when you're transitioning from the military, is like when you're in the military, you have your mission, you have your purpose. It's like laid out right in front of you. And then when you're trying to figure it out on your own, you have to figure it out on your own. So I've suffered huge depression, and I obviously have PTSD from the things that I've experienced. But I sought out the help, and even like going through seeking out the help is like a struggle within itself, and a huge like the journey and hurdle that you have to like see through, because like there is good help out there. Obviously the VA gets a lot of shit, but it depends on that VA. Like the Buffalo VA, when I got out and went straight there because I needed help and assistance, they were very accommodating and very like professional, and really there were people there that want to help vets. When I moved to Savannah, Georgia, they sucked there. Atlanta wasn't good at all. I think I had a pit stop in Texas that I didn't have good experience. Out here in LA, the West LA VA is bad, and it's still bad. Unfortunately, I only know that because like Drew recently went, and he said it was bad. But so when I was finally, I had a counseling like set up for the West LA VA. And I'm sitting there and they're like, oh, we're going to send you to building 405 because they specialize with OEF vets. And, they try to get you in and out quicker. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's good. Because a lot of times you go to the VA and you're sitting around for hours. The person that I had the appointment with, she was my, supposed to be my counselor. Don't remember her name because I never got to see her, because she was like, hey, I'm going to be late coming from this other building. So I'm sitting there knowing she's going to be late. So I'm like, all right, I can like control any anger or whatever right now, because I know she's going to be late. But then the phone starts ringing And with each ring, my fucking anxiety just like increased because there's 3 people sitting on the other side of that freaking desk. And like on the 9th ring, somebody finally like just says, "Hey, should I get that?" And the other one's like, "No, just let it go." And I flipped the fucking table, dude. I fucking snapped. I'm like, "You need to fucking answer the phone. What? Do your fucking job. How fucking hard is it? There's probably a vet that's going to kill himself right now, and that blood's going to be on your hands." I stormed out. And then I got a phone call while I was in my car from the counselor I was supposed to meet. She was like, "You're late." I was like, "Fuck you. You're fucking late." Hung up the phone. I have a few buddies out here who I served with in the Rakasans. I called one of my buddies, Louie, who was working at the VA too. And I was like, "Hey, man, freaking, I don't know." Just I explained that all that just happened to him. He recommended me to go seek out Bill at the Culver City Vet Center. He's like, "It's a vet center. All they do is counseling there. Go ask for Bill. He's my counselor. He's a Vietnam vet. He's seen some shit, so it's not gonna feel like counseling." And he was the one that recommended me to go to Long Beach. He's like, it's a bit of a drive, but trust me, it's worth every freaking minute. Because you go in, and like I went there, and it's like night and day between all of the other bad ones that I've been to. Like I walked in the first time to do the transition or whatever, and they have like the Long Beach VA has a bunch of like volunteers and stuff. And if you look lost, you get approached by one of the volunteers, like, "Hey man, where's the appointment at?" I'm like, "Oh, what? Oh, I'm going to see this person. Oh, I'll take you over there. I'll walk you there." I'm like, "What? You guys are taking care of me? I don't know how to feel anymore. That's weird. I'm not used to this." Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it depends on the VA. Like I know a lot of vets out there are like not willing or wanting to go to the VA because they've heard all of the horror stories, but it really depends on the VA. And there's there's other vet centers sporadic throughout that are funded by however freaking they get their funding, and they have counseling available, and they have good counselors out there. It's just a matter of going through it, and if you find a few bad ones, dump them and try searching for somebody else, or let them know, like, "Hey, like I need to speak with somebody different because you're not doing it for me." But yeah.
No, yeah, that's true. And I had that experience. And I went to 2 VAs here in Oregon. I went to the Oregon or the Hillsborough VA, which was horrible. I was my first appointment. It was supposed to be a 60-minute intake, and the appointment was booked for me. The counselor came out and told me it was my fault that I didn't make a 60-minute appointment. I threw my drink at her. It was styrofoam cup. I threw it at her, and I walked out of the VA.
Yeah.
I said, "How the fuck was I supposed to know it was a 60-minute appointment?" Boom! I threw it, and I was like, "Fuck this place!" And I went to my car, and I was like screaming in the car because I was just got out, and I was losing my crap. Like it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the Portland VA, and they're all right. They have their ones that you got to find. And the one lady I was seeing, it was like a PTSD therapist. Young Asian lady, didn't have any, no military experience, none, but she was like, "All right, so I want you to go to a gas station at nighttime around 11:30 and then just hang out there." I looked at her and I was like, "Are you wanting me to kill someone? Is that what you want? Like, do you want me to like hurt someone?" She's like, "No, it's called exposure therapy." I was like, "I know what exposure therapy is, but I'm pretty sure that that's not it." Like, and she's like, "I want you to walk around the building and walk around the corners." I was like, "You're trying to have me have a flashback or something. Like, what are you trying to do?" Like, I didn't feel comfortable with that at that time because I wasn't there yet. And then she called me from her personal phone, left me a message. So I called the number back, because I didn't know who it was because she left me a message. So then I get a call from one of the VA people talking about, "Why am I calling a therapist's personal phone number?" And I'm like, "Oh, she called me from that number. Like, what are you talking about?" So like, I had to like, nothing really happened with that because at first they were like, "Well, how did you get her number?" And I was like, "Well, I showed it to them. I was like, look, she called me from her number. I showed her my phone," and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then that was it. But yeah, it's like you're saying, dude. It's like sometimes you just got to keep trying. And I spoke with a cool Marine captain. She was out. She had experienced some trauma, and she's at the vet center in Salem. She's on point. I like her. I had talked to her like a year ago, and I don't know if she's still there, but she helped me get through some tough times because she was pretty good. Like the vet centers are really, really good. And for those who don't know, like how Justin was saying, the vet centers are where it's at. It's a very welcoming, homey environment. So now my next question is for you I don't know if you've had this question, but how do you and Drew meet?
We met on Hollywood Boulevard, actually. So like,
jeez,
yeah, I saw him, and like I remembered like seeing some of his videos in the past or whatever, and I couldn't remember his name when I saw him, and I was like, so I kind of fanboyed him, and I was like, a combat veteran. I could tell he did not want to talk that day. He was like, oh great, another one of these guys. Until we started talking, because I was like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, I thought he lived in Texas at the time, and he was like, no man, I live like right around the corner now, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, what are you doing on Hollywood Boulevard? He's like, oh, I'm shopping for a sketch I'm doing tomorrow. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to help out if I could, but I was booked on Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film, so I was booked doing background for that, and I was like, oh, I could probably get you on if you're interested. And he was like, yeah, well, let me know or whatever. And so I was booked the next 3 days, and he was asking me what I was doing on Hollywood Boulevard, and I was shopping for an independent film that I was producing and acting, and it's not co-writing because there's 3 writers. I don't know what you would call that. I was one of 3 writers for it. That's how you would say it. Yeah. And so we started talking about filmmaking, and I told him a little bit about my story about like I'm an actor out here and served and all that stuff. And then we exchanged numbers, and I got released for the Tenet thing, and I knew that he was filming a sketch that next day. So I shot him a text. I was like, hey man, I'm available if you need me. I have lights. I could be behind camera if you want. Like I could bring my light kit or whatever. And he was like, no man, we don't need no lights. Just bring a suit and some scrubs, because I'll need you for sketches. And I'm like, all right, cool. I got that. I'm an actor. And I showed up with my lights, and the DP Nick that we use a lot. He was like, man, it would be nice if we had some lights. And I was like, I got them. I got lights. He was like, oh, can we use them? Can we set them up? So like, we kind of like saw my work ethic that day and was like, all right, I guess I'm going to keep this guy around or something. I don't want to speak for him. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But yeah, we're roommates now. We started our own production company, Anthony Ray Productions, where we've done 3 short films so far. Orisha, Heist, and Spread just got finished. Orisha and Heist are both on Amazon Prime. Orisha was the first one that we did. We wrote that while I ended up getting him on Tenet. So we did Tenet together. It was like 21 days out in Palm Desert. They put us up in hotel rooms, and being military, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get there. And, I was like, Drew, hey, if they're going to bunk people, we should tell them we want to bunk together. And he was like, yeah, whatever. But that's not how Hollywood works. They kind of operate like the Air Force, and everyone got their own rooms. I had 2 beds myself, and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm sad now. This is what it feels like. It's pretty cool. But we were off on weekends, but we had to stay out there to be on hold. And we got paid for that, which was cool. And we started writing Orisha. Drew had the original concept idea for it. He wrote the first draft. Sent it to me, and then like we started hashing stuff out and got it to a good place. We started that process and finished it within like 4 months. And there's so many, dude, like there are so many people out here in LA, or all over the world. It's so weird. Like they like, it takes them years to finish a project. And this was our first one. We submitted to a bunch of film festivals that won Best Horror in a lot of them. Drew won Best Actor. Our female actress won Best Actress. I got a Best Actor nomination, which was also awesome and humbling. But like just to know like the first film that it's a short film, it's 20 minutes long. We want to pitch it as a proof of concept, but yeah, like I'm proud of like the work that we've accomplished. And Spread, we're hoping to get into Sundance. But that's going to be like a monster within itself, because unless you have like a named actor or named director, and we're just like the little guys out here, we're just trying to make it happen, but we're making it happen. So it's like, yeah. And, it's just about figuring it out and like finding the people that you click with. Cause I have experiences where I've tried to get a project off the ground. Actually, the one that the one that I was filming when I met Drew, we were just about to start filming. That one just got finished. And it's like there's all these excuses that came up and whatnot, but it's like, but with that one too, like it felt like I couldn't, like, I didn't have enough say in like what was happening. And at one point I was just like, you know what, I need to wash my hands of this and let these two other people who want to take this project and let them finish it and let them figure it out, because anything that I'm bringing to the table, I'm getting shut down, which sucks. But that's how some people work, man. Some people have, it's all about their ego, and they're not thinking about like what's best for the project. And this project, I think, will be good. I think good decisions were made, but the fact that I was one of the producers on it, but didn't have a say in the editing and stuff like that, it's like, or I had very little say. It's just the messed up. Like some people work better together than others. And
and you experienced that in the military too.
Yeah.
And I know it was funny. I actually had I did a little I won't call it acting, but I auditioned when I was stationed in Hawaii to be on Hawaii 5-0 for Steve McGarrett's double, and I got the part because I dressed up like him, but because of this right here, they told me no, because I have all this color going on over here.
Crap, huh? They could cover that up.
That's what I thought, but they didn't want to put the work in, and they got someone else. But then when I saw the guy, I was like, oh shit, okay, he looks better. Like I give the credit where it's due. I was like, okay, that guy looks like him. Then they ended up making me one of the bad guys. I wore all black. I was like one of the ones who was like the main attackers, and then got killed. And then he pulled the mask off my face, and I'm sitting there like playing dead. So I thought that was my little kind of thing. And then here's the frustrating part. After I got out of the Army, that was in like late 2017. I got out March 2018. I medically retired. Then 2 months after that, the same company calls me because they want me to be one of the main stars for like 3 episodes in Hawaii. And I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, I'm not there no more. Like, So that's my.
Give him my number. I'm here. I'll take all your work. No.
That was my short acting career. It started, ended, and it was like, oh no. So that's my short little piece there. But as we wrap it up here, it's already been 45 minutes. Surprisingly, I didn't even realize. I wanted to see if you had a message for the vets here watching. Kind of like I call it a closing statement, basically a message from you to them, to kind of help them persevere, push through. Side note, my fiance wrote on here that movie's called The Outpost, by the way, because we were talking about it earlier. She wrote it on there, The Outpost, so kudos to her. But if you have a message for these guys and gals, veterans, wives, who struggle, what message you got for them, if you can, you want to tell them anything?
You're gonna have dark days, man. You're gonna have depressing days where you don't want to get out of bed and stuff like that, and like that sucks, but it's also okay. And in my experience, like I've struggled with like suicidal thoughts, and I've even like held a razor to my fucking wrist. But like in my experience, the only thing or person that can like really intervene with those times is yourself. Yes, have your friends, have your close group of friends that you want to reach out to. Like all my friends from that second deployment, I think there's like 10 of us in a group chat, and we all have a pact not to do that to ourselves. And if we find ourselves in that dark place, to use it like an alert roster and start calling each person down that line. And for whatever reason, 10 people don't answer their phone, then go ahead and pick up that 1-800 number. It sucks. Nobody wants to call that 1-800 number. That's why you got 10 chances right before you get there. And if they don't pick up, it doesn't mean they don't care. People get busy. But that goes to say also what I was saying before. Like it falls back on you. Like you can be in a rut and it's raining and the cloud is right on top of you, and all your friends are throwing you the rope or whatever, but it's up to you to grab that rope, Nothing out here is easy, but nothing worth it isn't easy. right? Anything you want to do, just set your mind to it. Make small goals. Have that small goal to get out of bed every day for 30 days. It takes 30 days to create a habit. So do it, man. Like and reach out for help when you need it too, because life's already short as it is. Why make it any shorter? For yourself.
I think that's good, man. Yeah, no, that's a spot on message right there, man. And there's a big network. It's like you said, just because someone doesn't answer doesn't mean they don't care. I mean, they just might not have their phone with them, and you'll know who your true friends are is if they call you back. Those are the ones you keep in your phone. And yeah, it's okay. A few hours pass or something like that, maybe half the day. But if a whole day goes by, you better have a damn good reason why they didn't call you back. If you're relying on them in that type of aspect, like there has to be a good reason. You just can't pass the judgment right away that they don't care, because you don't know what they're going through. Maybe they're in that same moment as you and they just can't talk.
Yeah.
So there's that too. But yeah, that was awesome, dude. I appreciate you for coming on, and I know you busy schedule. You got a bunch of things going on, and I'm looking forward to see what projects you and Drew come up with. Probably check out some of that stuff. I saw the Orisha movie, but I didn't know about Heist.
Best way to find Heist is to get on Amazon and like just in the search bar search Juston Graber or Drew Anthony, because there's so many other movies called Heist already. Yeah. Orisha, I think you could find just by typing in Orisha, but also if you just type in one of our names, it'll pop up. They're up there for you have to purchase them because we spend a lot of money on them, and that's how movies work. We can't make anything for free. We did release what was it, the successful possession and attempted exorcism of Charlie Rockbottom on YouTube for Halloween last year. That was a funny one that we put a lot of money into, and it turned out good. And we were gonna we thought about putting that on Amazon, but we didn't want to have anything like comedy on Amazon. We want to we're trying to establish ourselves in another category almost. Is like we are taking acting seriously. I went to school for it. I studied theater. I have a BA in theater from USC. Drew's pretty natural at it. He's pretty good. He's come a long way in the 1 year that I've seen him grow too.
Yeah, he cracks me up. He's funny.
Oh
he
yeah,
cracks me up.
He's good with his serious stuff too, man. He's got the scene in Spread where he really freaking he does it, man. It's like it's cool. It's cool watching him. It's cool watching him.
And you could tell him too. He actually did a song called "Break Me Out," and that song actually got me through a really tough time.
Yeah, he's got another song coming out soon. That's really that hits the nail on the head. It's in Spanish though. But it's even then it's still good. You can tell his emotions are there, and it's his message is coming through. But
let's go. Yeah. I speak Spanish. I'm Cuban, so I'll understand it.
Yeah, I understand like little parts of it because I had lazy teachers at USC that weren't strict enough for me to learn Spanish.
So, but yeah. Let them know that song "Break Me Out." That song got me through a really critical point. Like, I stumbled across it. I probably watched it like 6 times in that day, and it definitely helped. That's for sure. So to him, and then not just him, other people who have like those things where you just stumble across, like it's great to have those, because then you save it. And I have it saved on my Facebook little videos tab, wherever the hell that tab is now in the settings, because Facebook changes everything. But I have it saved there because it was a song that got me through a critical part of life. And that's just the impact that, that we try to do. He did that. And, you guys are doing stuff with acting, inspiring veterans to get out there and pursue acting, like maybe this will inspire someone to be an actor.
Yeah, we're writing and producing all of these ourselves too. So it's like writing is something that I enjoy a lot too. Drew's really good at writing as well. But yeah, like create your own opportunities. That's another thing that like a message I could give out to people. Like being an actor with all the training that I have, I got sick of going on all these auditions, left and right, and being told, hey, like, yeah, you're on a veil, which means it's between me and one other guy or maybe two other guys, and then not landing the part at all. It's like, it's frustrating after a while, right? So like I started doing sketches on my own. You could check those out on YouTube. Pretty Not Bad. Pretty Not Bad is one word, and then entertainment. If you search that in YouTube, like those will come up, and those are all like co-written by me and some other people. And we just got together and started doing those sketches, and they're I think they're pretty funny. I don't know. You guys can comment. You guys can check them out. I think my favorite one is We Got a Rat. It's really, really, really good. I play like
I'll check them out because you guys do funny stuff. So I'll check them out. I like your guys' work, especially you guys partner together with the other guy who's always your guys' platoon sergeant. You three are pretty good little trio. You guys crack me up. Like my fiance and I will see your stuff and like, oh hey, look, they got a new one. Let's watch this one. And it's just Drew with his damn hair cracks me up because then he just looks lost and he's just like. He just looks lost all the time, and it's hilarious because you can relate to that to people in the Army.
Yeah, he plays that private role real good.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as before I get cut off here, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on, dude. Thanks for taking the time to speak. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This will be uploaded on YouTube, IGTV. You can follow Juston on here on Facebook. You can follow him on YouTube. You type in his name, he'll come up. He's got a whole little social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, IMDb, some acting, something else thing. I seen he's got all these little blocks in his little email that I get from him. So you type in his name. The name is unique. So if you type it up in Google, it's gonna come up because it's spelled J.
Yeah, Google it. And you see a lot of terrible things that I went through in the military. Even talk about. Yeah, that's it. That's
so
it.
If you say you can't find him, you're lying. You're full of crap because his name is different.
They put my MySpace picture on CNN. Laughing. This is all true.
I don't doubt it. You say it, I'm sure it's true.
No, that sucked.
But all right, man, I appreciate you for coming. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and stay tuned for next week because we got a special person coming on next week. His name is Dr. Bradley Nelson. He works with the body and emotion code with energetic holistic healing. So that's a whole different thing that actually works for me, which is you might want to look into there, bud, because it definitely helps with traumas and nightmares and things like. And we can talk offline about what that did for me and completely like transformed me and how I'm feeling and stuff, and like definitely helps. It helps a lot. So if you want more info, you let me know and I'll pass it to you. But it's definitely something to look into for when it comes to trauma and things like that. So that's what's coming next week, people. Thanks for being easy. Juston, thanks for coming on, and hope everyone has a good evening.